and welcome back to Adventitious Adventures podcast. If you're joining us for the first time, feel free to watch any of the other episodes before this so that you kind of know what's going on. To everybody that's returning, thanks for continuing to support this and listen, and I hope that you're getting something from this because I have really loved retelling this story. As always, these episodes can be found on YouTube as well as Spotify here. They also can be found in a written form on WordPress.com under the same name. So if you'd rather read, feel free to go and explore that. We also have our second campaign on there, and we just started our third, so those will be uploaded shortly. Last time we saw Mitram, Chop, and Hobbs, the morning after the party, learn some things about one of their own, and what seems to be happening after they left the North. After agreeing to help Princess Alexa with trying to amass support, they were offered a job by the leader of the New North, which they all agree would not be a good idea to follow up with. While heading back to Wolfwater, in the hopes of finding their missing companions, they are attacked by hobgoblins, sadly losing Hobbs in the scuffle. Will they be able to make it to their destination, and be able to finally meet up once more? We pick up once again on the town of Wolfwater. It is a busy town, having grown considerably since the party last went through, and now filled with diverse peoples from both the north and south. Suddenly, a small child cries out, pointing in the direction of the road at two figures who look beat and exhausted. As they come closer, it ends up being Mitram and Chop, who, after the encounter with the hobgoblins and the destruction of their cart, were forced to keep going on foot. As they were traveling, Mitram had told Chop he had a secret he needed to confess to her, and asked that she keep it to herself. After telling him that she could do that, he confides in her that the woman, Alexa, that she had met was actually the Princess of the North, before telling her about the civil war that is happening, and the rebellion. They talk about the fact that they were not planning on finishing the job and helping the New North, but it is curious that they are in the South if they are not interested in it. Chop asks Mitram what they should do, and he tells her he wishes for her to help him unite the North and South, which is what Princess Alexa truly wants. Flashing back to the present, an older, gray-haired priest approaches Mitram and Chop and offers to find them healing and rest. They agree and follow him to a nearby temple. Once inside, the priest sends one of the followers to the temple next door to find a healer, since he feels they may be more in need of someone his temple cannot offer. The woman complies and heads to the Temple of Tempest. Once there, she finds a cleric by the name of Saren, and convinces him to help, meeting with Mitram and Chop and healing them. While this is happening, unbeknownst to them, a wagon pulls into town, drawn to the city by the gentle push of another deity. As the cart comes to a stop, Malvis falls out of the back, completely drunk. A moment later, Inara exits, followed by Elzaman and Anya. They ask if her friend is normally like this, but she says no, this is more than she has seen. Seeing that he is in no state to do much of anything, Anya gives Malvis some money for an inn, which he takes before giving Inara his vessel and stumbling off. Inara watches him go off with a worried look, which prompts Anya to say she will follow him. As they leave, Elzaman suggests he and Inara head to a nearby tavern for some food and drink. She agrees and they enter, sitting at the last open small table. As they sit, they have a conversation, hoping to get to know each other a little better. They end up talking about many things, including Inara's friends, and if she ever gets as drunk as Malvis is currently. The conversation is mostly lighthearted, but Inara still seems distracted, hoping her friend is okay. The scene changes to Malvis, who has wandered around, eventually settling on having a drunken argument with a random gnomish man in the street. After a moment, a gray-haired man approaches, and getting his attention by offering a compliment, offers to get him something to eat and connect. The man leads Malvis to the same temple that Mitram and Chop are at, who are now talking with the cleric Saren. Instead of greeting his companions, Malvis rushes over to Saren, grabbing his face before crying and calling him someone he is not. Looking at Saren with a sorry look, the priest convinces him to help Malvis, as Mitram and Chop finally notice his presence. They greet him in different ways, with Chop telling him that she met his parents and they do not think well of him. Malvis disagrees, stating that they would not say that, but Chop persists. Back at the tavern, Inara and Elzaman are still talking lightly, but are distracted briefly by some men next to them talking about a 20,000 gold reward for the capture of 2 men, one being described vaguely as a Kenku. Suddenly Inara appears, holding a wanted sign bearing the pictures of the people in question. Inara asks her why she was there, instead of with Malvis, to which she replies she lost him, as she crumbles up the paper. The 3 of them decide to go search for him, leaving the tavern. After wandering around for a bit, they eventually settle on checking inside a nearby temple to see if he by chance ended up there. Upon entering, they realize their decision was wise, for they hear the sound of voices Inara recognizes. As the trio approaches, the rest of the party notices them, with Malvis coming over, happy to see Inara again. He starts drunkenly talking, describing the things that Ula has been asking of him, including wanting him to have slept with Inara. But that he did not do that because they are friends. Best friends. While this is happening, Malvis can hear Ula's unhappy voice, telling him that she asks him to do things but he continually fails, that he is acting like a fool, and that he needs to pull himself together. Instead of feeling intimidated, this time Malvis tells her to leave him alone, before finally passing out. The rest of the party, having witnessed this whole ordeal, seemed shocked, and are not sure how to take all of the information. Saren, having no true emotional connection to any of what was said or happening, and having heard Malvis say her name, tells the rest of the party about Ula, and how she finds followers and then destroys them. With that dark knowledge surrounding them, the party drags Malvis to a bed, deciding to get some rest themselves. Mitram, however, decides to have a conversation with Saren before going to sleep himself. He asks about Tempest and the temple, specifically inquiring if there are other followers. Saren tells him that it is just him, which seems to disappoint Mitram. He also asks why the questions, and what it is that he is hoping to find. Mitram tells him about the trouble in the north, and how it is now affecting the south. Saren seems to be interested in what he says, so he takes it a step further, telling him he is looking for warriors to help take down the northern rebels. Saren, while not being able to pledge more people, says that he will help in whatever way he can. The night wears on, and with it Malvis's drunkenness. However, he wakes to something he was not expecting. He is in an open area, hordes of demons rushing towards him. Trying to find his bearings, he sees a pit open up, promising worse things to come. Suddenly, a bright light shines down from above, dispelling the demons. Looking up, Malvis can see the silhouette of a woman, who reaches her hand out to him, just as the form of Ula emerges from the ground in front of him. She argues with the silhouette, saying he is spoken for, and the power she gives him for her own designs is stronger, before reaching out her hand as well. Before he can do anything, Malvis wakes for real, this time still inside the temple. He can smell the scent of delicious foods, and can hear the slight noises of joyful commotion from outside the walls. His behavior the days before coming back to him, Malvis decides to go find Inara. Finding her, he apologizes for how he has been acting, which she accepts, happy to be back on better terms. She asks if he is doing okay, and this time he is honest and replies not really. He tells her he feels as if he is being pulled in 2 directions and is not sure what to do. Unsure that there's anything she can do to help, Inara offers it anyway, if he feels he needs it. While they are talking, Mitram, Chop, and Saren go out to find something to eat. Emerging from the temple, they find the town bustling with a festival-like atmosphere. In the center of the crowd, they see a man gathering food and greeting people. They are told the man is the leader of the town, named Mayor Ethan, and that he is a well-liked and respected person, and also, apparently, a major snack. Mitram asks Saren if he knows the mayor, and he answers that they have met in passing, but nothing extremely well. However, they decide to risk it and approach the man. Mayor Ethan greets them with some lighthearted talk before Mitram tells them he has a proposition for him, and after a bit of a back and forth, they agree to meet up later. Their job seemingly finished for the moment, the trio heads to some nearby food stands. After a little while, Inara and Malvis join them, Malvis being disgusted at the amount of bacon that Chop is currently eating. Instead, he inquires for something to eat that is not meat-related from an awkward seller who introduces himself as Gunter. As the party sits and enjoys the meal, their talk eventually turns more personal, and Malvis, actually attempting to be a more decent person, talks to Chop and asks about her parents. She tells a little about them and her village, but seems to rebuff Malvis's attempts at getting to know her. Saren, seeing the animosity of the group, asks why they travel together if they do not like one another. Both Chop and Malvis make a mention of being there for Inara, which Saren interestingly concludes that she must draw them together. As Chop once more scoffs at Malvis's kinder attitude, she moves away to another table. Quietly, he tells whoever is listening that he is trying, and hears two very different voices answer, "I know." Inara's parents also come to sit with the party, trying to get to know more about them as well. However, they get on the subject of the party and Inara's faults, to which Malvis stands up for her, before trying one last time to talk to Chop, who just leaves. A couple of hours pass by in which Mitram has filled all of the party in about what is going on and his plan of an assault on the camp. Their reactions are varied, with Malvis's being the most oppositional. He does not believe that they should just go in and wipe out the men in the New North camp, and after suffering backlash from Mitram and Saren, requests his vessel back from Inara and storms off. His exit finally seems to pull Inara out of her thoughts about the matter. She says she agrees that it does not seem to be right to just go and kill everyone, and that she is not sure she wants to get that far into a political battle once more, following Malvis out of the door. The rest of the party heads to the mayor's office. As they are let in, they can see Mayor Ethan poring over a map with some others. Seeing he has guests, he dismisses the others before turning to the party and formally introducing them all. Once the small talk has subsided, Mitram tells Ethan about the rumors going around that he is aiding the cause of Princess Alexa, paying careful attention to how the mayor responds. Ethan seems to get defensive at the accusation, asking why they would care, to which Mitram ends up telling the truth of why they were there. However, he also includes that he sees they have welcomed and are helping refugees from the north, so he's hopeful that perhaps this is where the rumor came from. Ethan replies that he seems to notice Mitram has a personal investment, to which Mitram answers that it is true, because he does come from the north and supports the princess. With this admission, Mayor Ethan opens up a secret tunnel, beckoning them to follow. The trio looks at each other before warily following. The tunnel ends up leading to a circular room with an altar in the middle, upon which a book rests. Ethan apologizes about the secrecy, as around 30 men appear above them with crossbows drawn, aiming right at Mitram, Saren, and Chop. Surprised, they turn to Ethan, who tells them that what they have heard was wrong, that they actually serve the New North, and asks once more who it is that they are aiding. The stakes high, Mitram answers once again that they serve the princess, as the others hold their breath. A few moments pass before finally the men with the crossbows pull back, and Ethan answers, telling them that it was a test. They actually have been aiding Princess Alexa, and will help Mitram in his quest, but that the men in this room are the only ones he can trust. Ethan tells them he can give them 10 men, but that is all that he can spare. Agreeing, they begin to decide on a plan, but are cut off by knocking on the door. A dwarf appears, telling Mayor Ethan that he is here again, revealing the form of Gunter, the awkward shopkeep the party had met before. He offers Ethan the last of his rolls apologetically before leaving, the rest of the group annoyed and puzzled. Meanwhile, after leaving the rest of the group, Malvis wanders around for a little while before finding a green space within the city and sitting underneath a tree. Holding onto the vessel, he begins to try and sort out his thoughts, but is distracted by the fact that, even though it is daytime, he can see stars in the sky. After a few moments, he realizes he can hear Hobbs' voice, telling him perhaps his story is not finished after all, and that perhaps he needs a new patron. At the same time, Inara is still wandering around trying to find Malvis to make sure he is alright, and let him know she agrees with his feelings on the matter. However, before she can figure out where he went, she is stopped by her father looking concerned. Elsman tells her that they need to go back and deal with the situation of the peoples from Sky. He says he knows the party has their own thoughts, but there will be no north or south if it is not dealt with. That she and her friends can and will turn the tide of the situation, but they will need to abandon this present quest. Before everything fades, the scene changed to the shopkeep Gunter. He is meeting with someone unseen and telling them about what he has overheard and seen. Taking the information in stride, the unseen figure says something in support of the New North as the camera fades out. Oh my goodness. Okay, I had forgotten how important this episode was when I started doing this one. There is so much in here that plays such a big role into what is coming. You have, these two sides fighting against each other, but this underlying issues of there's something else happening, there's something else bigger there, besides just the North and the South. And you also see some personalities develop of between the group who may not get along or may get along and everything else. We got to meet a new character, Saren, who will be around for a while. And you also get to see, again, just this development of some relationship between Malvis and Inara that is happening. Obviously, they, are friends. Maybe something more. I don't know at this point in time. I'm not going to give spoilers. But you have this all happening in this episode. And towards the end of it is the biggest thing that immediately is going to happen, which has horrible longer range consequences. Consequences that, spoiler alert, I would say, have to the end of this campaign, plus have some consequence and effect on things that happen in our second campaign. And all of that is about to be based on one choice that hasn't happened yet, but will be in the next episode, and I'm excited for that. But yeah, so this one was fun too because it was very heavy on role-playing. It wasn't as... we weren't fighting. A lot of it was choices or how people interacted with each other, which was very fun. And it was fun to include how we all got along with each other and just develop that more. Because I think, that's the core of the story, really. Yeah, you have battles, but our style of play is not just battle after battle. It's, we are this group that has to work together to be what the world needs, or what whoever we're dealing with needs. So that is exciting. As far as looking forward, like I said, there is going to be at the very beginning of the next episode something that happens that's got some very big things after it. And so I'm excited for that too. But you'll kind of see what happens after this and the choices that they fully make. And yeah, I'm excited for that. Hope you guys are too. Again, thanks for sticking by and listening. And, until next time, roll well, and I'll see you then.